Hey film fans, welcome to CINEPRO, your ultimate hub for all movie recaps. From heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters, the movie starts at a barbecue party where Sven is present with his girlfriend Tina, who is accompanied by her friend Betty. When Bjarne, Sven's friend, arrives and joins them, Betty tries to be friendly and flirt with him, but he rebuffs her and sends her away because it's been 7 years since his wife died, and he hasn't gotten close to any woman since. He has a trauma about the whole thing. The next day, Sven and Bjarne go to work, and Sven sees Holger, who is the Danish butcher master they work for as apprentices. Holger is boasting about his secret recipe in front of a customer, which makes Sven jealous. Sven tells Bjarne that they could open a butcher shop 100 times better than Holger's, and that their recipe is better than his. Holger overhears them and starts mocking and insulting them in the rudest way. After being humiliated, Sven becomes even more determined to open his own shop and never work for Holger again. After a while, Sven and Bjarne meet a real estate agent who offers them a fully equipped butcher shop, super luxuriously finished, and only lacking the goods, which would cost about 2 million kroner. Sven mortgages his house and pays his million, and Bjarne manages to come up with the other million. The next day, Bjarne goes to the hospital to visit his twin brother Egil, who is clinically dead and only alive on machines. He tells the doctor to disconnect the machines and let fate take its course. His intention is to inherit 1 million kroner after his brother's death. The doctor is happy with his decision, telling him his brother's organs will save many people. They get the shop ready, buy the meat, and Sven gives Bjarne business cards for the shop to distribute as advertising. Sven tells Bjarne they need an electrician because the meat fridge light is broken and needs fixing. After finishing work, Bjarne visits the graves of his wife and parents, leaving them flowers. It's the first time he's visited them since they died. There, he meets a beautiful girl named Astrid, gets to know her and likes her. He flirts with her, gives her a business card, and invites her to the opening. But she says she can't come because she has work. The priest calls her for work, and she leaves. On the day of the opening, no customers show up and they sit around the shop alone. Sven is upset and puzzled that no one came despite their efforts and expenses. They bring in the electrician to fix the fridge light. As after they finish work and are heading home, Sven notices the fridge door is open. He closes it tightly, not knowing the electrician is still inside. He locks up the shop and leaves. The next morning, before going to the shop, Sven is with his girlfriend Tina, who calls him a loser and says she's leaving him to marry the groom her cousin found for her. She leaves, and Sven is upset. When he enters the shop and opens the fridge, he's even more upset to find the electrician's corpse inside. At that moment, he hears someone enter the shop. It's Holger. Sven tries to get him to leave, saying they're not working now, but Holger keeps mocking and provoking him about having no customers and says he needs a large amount of meat for a gathering to see if their meat is any good. He takes the meat and leaves. Sven calls Bjarne and tells him about the electrician's body. Bjarne rushes over and finds Sven in a state of collapse. He tries to calm him down, saying it's just an accident and they'll call the police. When he goes to the fridge to see the body, he's shocked to find the man's leg is missing. Stunned, he asks Sven if he ate the man's leg. Sven explains that Holger came to the shop, provoked him, and wanted meat. So out of anger, he cut off the electrician's leg, prepared it, and sold it to Holger. Bjarne is shocked and says, "Now we can't call the police. We need to get rid of the body completely." They decide to leave him in the fridge and throw him in the meat grinder the next day to quietly dispose of him. But the next day, when Bjarne goes to the shop, he finds a long line of customers outside. Inside, Sven tells him to keep quiet. Thanks to Holger's dinner, their meat was a hit, and their reputation has spread throughout the city. Everyone wants the same meat. Sven says he's decided to sell the rest of the electrician's body, as it's the best way to get rid of it. Bjarne refuses at first, but Sven tells him there's no difference between selling the body and putting it in the grinder. So they spend the day selling the rest of the man to all the customers. After work, Bjarne tells Sven they'll tell the customers there's no more meat starting tomorrow, but Sven says he likes the way people are treating him now. People are smiling at him, and it's a feeling he's never had before. He's always been shunned and hated by everyone since he was a child. He says they can't keep the shop open without that meat. Bjarne gets mad, hits Sven, and leaves for home. The next day, Bjarne goes to the cemetery to see Astrid, talks to her for a while, and asks her out. She agrees, goes to his house, and he shows her all the animal corpses he's hunted, a huge collection because he's killed many animals due to a trauma he has with them, which we'll learn about later. Meanwhile, Sven is at the shop when the real estate agent comes and asks to see the shop and how business is going. Sven seizes the opportunity and invites him to show him the fridge first. He locks him in the fridge, locks up the shop, and leaves. The next morning, Bjarne goes to the shop looking happy and tells Sven he's finally started to like a girl. Sven is very happy for him and says he's finally gotten over his complex. He gives him the special green uniform for the shop as Bjarne the romantic enters the fridge. He finds the broker's corpse hanging from the ceiling like a slaughtered animal, so he goes up and gets angry at Sven because he's lost his mind and become a monster. He tells him he won't keep working with him, but Sven says, "You're wrong about me. Yesterday I found his body on the sidewalk, so I just took him and put him in the fridge. Nothing more." He tells him, "Now we've become successful and famous people, so we can't stop working." Then he says, "Surely Astrid also liked your success and fame, right?" They continue working, and then journalists come and interview Sven about the shop's story, which became famous and gained a great reputation in a short time. Sven likes the fame and interviews more and more. We move to the doctors at the hospital as they disconnect the machines from Eagle, Bjarne's brother. I don't know what they were waiting for all this time to disconnect them, but anyway, when they do, they find he hasn't died and is still breathing, and even wakes up. The doctors are astonished because it's a miracle. The next day, Sven goes to the shop with a corpse in his car trunk. He tells Bjarne about how people treat him and that he bought a new car and has to show it to him. He's hung the body so Bjarne doesn't see it, but Bjarne does and realizes he's killed another person. Sven tries to explain, but while they're talking, Eagle comes to the shop. Bjarne hides from him and asks Sven to get him out of there. We find out Eagle is mentally challenged. Sven manages to get him to leave, so the murder is still Sven's secret. Bjarne goes to the doctor at the hospital and tells her she has to keep Eagle away from him, but she refuses and says he needs psychological treatment and that she'll talk to Sven to convince him. And indeed, the next day, Bjarne finds the doctor's body in the fridge. He's now convinced, and he's the one who sent her there anyway. Day by day, the shop's popularity increases. Eagle keeps coming to the shop to see his brother, but Sven keeps pushing him away. After work, Bjarne goes to sit with Astrid and asks her about her life with the priest. He says he heard that the priest and his wife had a plane crash and that he ate her to survive. He asks if it's true, and she says yes. We go to Master Holger, who's sitting with the priest. He says, "I don't know how these failures succeeded. Something must be wrong." The priest says, "I'm the only one in town who couldn't stand their meat." Master Holger becomes more suspicious. The next day, Astrid meets Eagle and finds out he's Bjarne's brother and mentally challenged, so she keeps him with her and doesn't let him leave. When Bjarne visits her and finds his brother there, he wants to leave, but she calls him back and his brother wants to hug him, but Bjarne hits him, gets in his car, and leaves. At night, Tina, Sven's ex, comes and tries to get back with him now that he's famous, but he refuses. She keeps mocking him, so Sven gets angry and kills her. We go back to Master Holger, who gets even more suspicious because he notices many people from the town have disappeared recently. He calls the chicken supplier for Sven and Bjarne's shop and asks about the amount he sells them. He finds out he only supplies them with 8 chickens a week, so he concludes they must be kidnapping and killing people and selling their meat. The next day, the priest calls Astrid while Holger is there, and Holger tells her, "I'm sure they're kidnapping and slaughtering people." He tells them the details of Bjarne's family accident, and that Eagle caused the death of his family and wife because Eagle swerved to avoid hitting an animal with the car, saving the animal but killing everyone in the car. This caused Bjarne psychological problems and made him kill all the animals in the street. He says the government arrested him, and after he got out, he made him work at the shop. He tells Astrid to stay away from him because he's crazy, just like his brother. At night, Bjarne comes, and Sven stays to clean the shop. Astrid and Eagle come and ask to talk to Bjarne. Sven tries to keep them away, but they insist, so he opens the door and tells them he's in the meat fridge. Meanwhile, Bjarne goes to the priest and asks about Astrid, who tells him she went to the shop. Bjarne fears Sven might kill her, so he runs to the shop and asks Sven if Astrid came, but Sven says no one came. The fool believes him and leaves, but before he goes, he hears banging in the meat fridge and realizes Sven is lying. He opens the fridge and lets them out. Astrid is furious and tells them while breaking down that they're crazy and storms out. Bjarne collapses and starts smashing up the shop. He grabs a knife wanting to kill Sven, but controls himself and Sven flees immediately. Bjarne runs to his brother to pull him out of the fridge and tries to revive him, but it's no use. He sleeps next to him after losing hope that he's alive. Suddenly, Eagle wakes up. He asks Bjarne to hold his hand, saying he misses him all this time. The next day, Bjarne opens the shop alone. Sven is too scared to come. Bjarne decides to sell only regular meat and chicken to customers. Holger comes with the food authority to investigate the meat being sold. Sven arrives and asks people what's happening. They tell him about the food authority. He goes in, about to confess without anyone even touching him, but Bjarne quickly stops him and takes him outside. He tells him he got rid of all the human meat and rotten chicken, so now there's nothing against them. The food authority leaves, finding nothing wrong. Bjarne tells Sven that the reason for their fame and the popularity of their meat is the special mix they make. It has nothing to do with human meat. They continue working cleanly with regular meat, and the movie ends. If you like the summary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the